to feel very welcome in the IPU. There are a lot of things being said here. I think they're interesting things. But what is important is that we develop and help our members develop the capacity to implement those aspirations that have been expressed here. Otherwise, we would just be a talk shop, you know. And so I thought I should engage you while you are here. It saves me the trouble of coming to Uganda. Not that I don't want to come to Uganda, not to Tanzania, but you know, we have lots of other things, and so if I can shoot two birds with one stone here, I think. So we did, and I did send you that letter, and I made a proposal in my letter that you might want to consider being one of the countries that we have identified as priority countries for support when it comes to promoting gender equality in different aspects. Yes, because we have a mandate to promote inclusive decision making, and over the years we have developed expertise in promoting an increase in women's political participation, especially their elevation to parliament. I'm so glad each time I see news coming in, there's a woman speaker who is elected somewhere, then I go and I say, hooray.
You tick.
Yes, I tick. And today we have just 22% of speakers in the parliament in the world that are women, just 22%. I would very much like to see 50%. I'm sure you agree, Ambassador. Yes. So there are many things that we can do, and if our offer is one that is agreeable to you, then my office and your office could work together on the details of such cooperation, and we would be pleased to provide the resources for that. So.
Sure. I would like to also appreciate, much as we wrote back, I think, to appreciate your letter that we received, and thank you so much for writing, because if you didn't, we wouldn't be sure whether we are actually proper members of IPU and whether you're following up the politics like you have said. But we are very grateful for that as a house. But also we are very grateful because IPU has been working with the Tanzanian Parliament before in a number of issues, and I'm glad now you have just committed that you're ready to keep those engagements, but even to start new ones, so that we got together in those two issues. One, you talked about early child marriage. Yes. That is also one of the issues that we try to work on as members of parliament, but also as female members of parliament. We have our own group of female members of parliament, which is called the Tanzania Women Parliamentary Group, and this is the group of women that actually. This is the caucus
TWPG.
Yes, TWPG. So we work with women in a number of issues, and one of them is actually empowerment. Empowerment in all areas, in terms of trying to increase the numbers. How do we increase the numbers? Because the members of parliament who are already there, we would want to keep them.
Yes.
And then so they get the knowledge on how they can actually secure constituencies, their constituencies, but also assist in talking to young girls elsewhere who would want to join the house, or talking to women elsewhere who would want to come to parliament, so that we add the numbers. Right now we are at 36.7%.
Which is way above the global average.
Yes,
good,
but we
want 50%.
Yes, that's where we are heading to.
Yes.
So I think your commitment that you're ready to work with us is very much welcome. And what we'll try do is to work out on the issues that we would want to engage these women members of parliament into. Okay. And also because we have to find out from them what it is that they want to learn, And because this is a relatively new parliament, it's not very new, but relatively new, we had general elections in 2020, so we have a number of female members of parliament who are new in the House, so they need to be trained on a number of issues. One of them, like we had today in the session, is lobbying, because you need resources to keep your constituency, whether you're directly elected like myself, because I have a constituency, but you also have a particular group of female members of parliament who are elected to the House but not directly elected from constituencies. So because the constitution guarantees 30% that they should be women, so there's an arrangement that is made in the laws that these women, you get them from different parties that would have participated in the general election. Any party that would get more than 5% of the general vote, general vote from the members of parliament, then they are guaranteed a particular number of members in the House. So this training do two things. One, these women can still come through the ways that they have come to the House. We usually call them special seats. But also you have got a number of them wanting to now go to constituencies, and then you have more female in the constituencies, and then you have also the 30%. So that will increase the number. So I talked about the need for financial engagement or literacy, whatever you call it, but they need to know how to access funding so that they can be able to keep their constituencies. But also there are other areas, like you talked about your readiness to work in child marriage. Before they go out there, you want them to be informed. So at some point they need to have information. Now, for them to get information, somebody must have done some research, so that they are, they have sufficient information if they have to advocate for anything. Or at times, like our parliaments, because we make laws, we also do the oversight. We are advisors to the government. For a member of parliament to be effective in the House, they need to have all these skills, So they need training also in all these skills to be able to be good speakers in the House, but also they need data for them to be able, to be listened to. Otherwise, if you just, speak from the air, people are like, all right, we have heard that already. But if you go with the statistics, then people will listen to you. So both points are very important, and I think they can, particularly for women, you can put all that in one basket, that you need these women to be empowered in all these areas. So they need training, yes, they need data, so you need to engage researchers for them to do that. So I'm sure we can work together in a number of ways to assist these women, not just increase the number, but also have these women be effective, because that will assist the public to see them differently. It's not like you just have these women members of parliament, but you have women members of parliament who are effective in what they're doing, and so that will encourage even the public to vote for more women. And now we have for the first time in history, we have a female member. We have the female president, Her Excellency
Yes.
So
you're in control. Women are on the rule.
Yes, so you have young girls, you have women looking up to her, and with a lot of hope. So if we are looking at her and she's performing, she's doing so well. So we need more women doing well, and then you change that perception that the public has against women in a number of places. So I think your goal, IPU's goal, to have more women in IPU, because that's the numbers at IPU reflects the numbers in the national parliament. So you can only have more IPU female members if you have more members of female members of parliament in the national parliament.
You're right.
So so the will and the zeal and the plan for IPU to have more female members of parliament, I think it goes so well with your engagement with female caucuses in our respective parliaments. So I would like to say thank you so much for your readiness to engage us, and I believe my office will get in touch so that we start this right away.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you very much for that positive response. It's important for us, and coming from somebody who knows the issues already is helpful, because sometimes we assume that this is what somebody needs without having talked to the person. But listening to you, I do understand that those issues are real, and we can work together to help address them, and we should do that, because we don't want to, as I said before, for you to reduce your participation in IPU to just attending conferences and all that. Yes. So I hope that we can put together a mechanism where you appoint a focal point in the Parliament with whom we can work in order to build a package. And Madam Speaker, I appeal to you that I would not like for this to take forever, because for me, I would like for things to go very fast and say this is what we want to do, and we go ahead and do it. It being understood that we don't get involved in internal politics in the Parliament, but when we do provide support, it's across the board. That is whether you're in the opposition or you're in government. It's the Parliament that we engage in. And if necessary, sometimes to work with other stakeholders in the government or in the civil society in order to make sure that we build what we now call a parliamentary ecosystem, which has Parliament at the center, but you have all these other stakeholders around who are inputting into work of Parliament. We just came from launching the Global Parliamentary Report, which is all about public engagement. Yes, it's important that Parliament be tuned to the public, and so we are willing to help. And I just want also to caution that if we're talking about gender equality, it is not about women. It's about how men and women work together, which means that you have to involve the men forum. I do know that in Rwanda they have a forum of women parliamentarians, but men are also members of that forum. So, we have to build these partnerships, for it to work. If you don't have the men on board, then you don't achieve maximum effectiveness. So whatever strategy we work on together should have men in the picture.
Sure. We also have, maybe we are not advanced as Rwanda to have the members, but we also have, we call them champions.
Yes,
the he for she champions.
Yes.
So they are usually part of the TWPG.
Yes.
So how it works is that when trainings are there, they can also share their experiences, because when you talk about increasing the number of women in the House, it's not something that you can just have women and then for them to tell you. You need men to tell you how they, how they maneuver at times.
That's right.
So you need them on board. So we also have a number of men, and we are still working harder to have even more men, because, like I said, the women are just, below 40%. So the majority are men. So even when the trainings that we have talked about, if you need the women to take a particular issue to the House, for it to be supported, for it to have, a positive impact, you need men on board.
Correct.
Like we talked about child marriage, you need men on board, because in most cases when we talk about child marriage, we are talking about a girl child, because mostly it's a man marrying this girl child, right? It's in very few instances where you will find a young boy marrying wherever. So that needs a male support. They have to tell you what it is that has to be done, or even advise you. Otherwise, if you leave them behind, you go there, you're discussing issues emotionally without understanding the depth of how things are. So we have them on board as well?
We have seen that it's important to engage the traditional rulers, religious rulers in many countries, like in West Africa. The inroads we made in a country like Mali, that is deeply steeped in those traditional cultures of children getting married or female genital mutilation. We had to go and talk to the traditional authorities, to the imams and all of that, to make sure that, to explain to them, say why it is not on to do those traditional harmful practices. So it's good that we have this thing, and so Parliament does not function in a bubble.
True.
So I hope that we can work on this very quickly and move forward. I personally, as I said, Dr. Kikwete and myself, we sit on the Global Commission on Nairobi, which looks at all the issues about sexual and reproductive health and rights. I sit on the board of the Partnership for Maternal, Newborn and Child Health, and so the issue of child marriage is very much on the cards, the harmful traditional practices and all of that. So we can tap into these resources that are there, it being understood that we're just about people, protecting people, and helping parliaments who represent the people to protect them.